Well, g'day folks, Tony Fountain here again with what's on in the Highlands for this particular weekend. Certainly winter's starting to fade away, we're starting to head towards spring. And spring is very much an optimum word with my guest here today, John Tyler. Well, you got a spring.
I've been sprung, yes.
You've been sprung.
I was going to be here.
Folks, let's go through what's on and then we'll come back and have a chat with John. Righto. Well, John, at this time I normally go through and explain what's on this weekend in the Highlands, so stick with me. Okay, folks, well, this weekend in the Highlands, it's a little bit slower this weekend because we're having a bit of a hiatus period till we really get stuck into tulip time and art festivals, the rest of it. Art situation for this weekend you would have seen on Monday when the What's On in the Highlands art came through. Let's see. At Colavale on Saturday from 10 till 3 is the sculpturing of soapstone. Apparently, I haven't been to the course, but apparently this is a really interesting course. So that's on at Colavale. Food-wise in the Southern Highlands is the place to be for food. Out there at the Lock at Berrima, Bridget Kennedy's got on foodies there. Foodies Fields for Winter. It's a beautiful meal out there. And then talking food again, the markets on barrel markets, regular markets are on Saturday from 8 till 1, and then on Sunday out to Robbo, potato capital of the world, and that's on from 9 till 2. So they're the markets covered. Now if you're down here and you've got kids who want us, anyway, roaring round, place to be is out at Sutton Forest to the puppet show out there. That's a really good show. It'll be a lot of fun as well. So that's the cultural and fun activities. Real estate wise, I've got 2 open houses this weekend. Well, there's no houses on either of them actually. There's a 20-acre block of land down at Maroolin, and I've also got a vacant block of land over at Mossvale in Joseph Hollis Drive. So all the details are down on there. Just go to that web link and that'll take you straight through to them. So that's what's on this weekend of the Highlands. So John, I'm going to ask you a question. How do you introduce a fellow who lives in one of the most beautiful parts and historic parts of the UK? No, seriously, I just think the West Country and where you're from originally is just the most wonderful part of Britain. So
I'm not going to argue with you.
No.
Even though I live in Sydney.
Well, you can't live in Sydney. You just got to learn to come up the hill and get in the fresh air.
Well, this is true.
But John's, I was going to say claim to fame, but it's not a claim to fame because he's a very modest man. But he's was previously one of the top scientists in fertility in Australia. But we're not talking about fertility. We're talking about his passion in life now. And this is a book that he's going to be releasing in December. And John originally was from West Loo, which is in Cornwall. And it's a beautiful book.
Well, it's taken a while to put together, like about 40 odd years, because I sort of fell in love with antiquarian prints.
Right.
And just to put that in perspective, antiquarian prints are those engravings made from a painting of a scene done, I don't know, between about late 1700s and about 1850, before photography started coming along. And what I find fascinating about them is that they're an indication historically of what the place was like before the introduction of photography, before the introduction of mass travel, and actually before the introduction of lots of books, because people weren't that literate necessarily, and secondarily the only people who had books were the rich aristocracy who could afford the leather-bound tomes that were being produced.
Gutenberg took it from being done by a monk,
correct,
to where it was a mass print, or sort of mass print, and then the period you're talking about then took to the general people.
It did, and you frequently find the word picturesque in there.
Yes.
Picturesque sold books in the early 1800s.
Yeah, well, what you say is dead right, because today, and it's just so easy to assume how things were.
Well, exactly. I mean, in the early 1800s, you've got to remember that Britain was at war with France.
Yeah.
Therefore, people weren't travelling to the continent. So they started looking locally. And that's when all these travel books espousing how lovely England might be really began.
Yeah.
So they started really with the large country houses.
Yeah.
Mostly because they were commissioned by the people who lived in the country houses.
Yes.
But slowly the Romanticism started, and
Yeah.
the artists got out there, Turner and Prout and everybody like that, and they started drawing the lesser side of things,
Right.
old mills.
Then Robbie Burns got
Houses.
going, so they went to Scotland for a
They
good look.
went all over the place,
Yeah.
these people. You didn't think they travelled too much, but they travelled everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to think of the name of the magazine that used to be Big A5, or we'd call A5.
Well, it was Illustrated London News,
That's it. That was the one that
Yeah.
had the lovely graphic
Absolutely.
masthead on it.
and that started about 1842 or so.
Yeah.
And the Gentleman's Magazine also was around that sort of time.
Right.
And that's where these prints were. But those magazines, you know what magazine is? It's French.
All right.
It's French for magazine, which means a store of
okay,
everything.
right. Well, there you go. I've learned something
Yeah, another
today.
bit of useless trivia.
For an auctioneer, trivia is never useless. So you can always use it.
Well, you know, we've got to talk about infertility.
Mm.
You know what a spermatologist is?
Like who looks at sperm.
No, somebody who's interested in trivia. And
Oh.
it took me to the National Library in Canberra and the 56 versions of the Oxford English Dictionary to actually find it.
I can just think the next time I'm at a function, someone says, "What are you?" and I say, "I'm a
The
spermatologist."
I love trivia.
There we
you
go.
And they'll
Well,
like it.
I thought you were going to say something to do with whales. But
No,
anyway,
no.
Because this could be about a 5-hour interview on this. I'm going to get you back for another one later on because you live in Kiama now, don't you?
We visit Kiama very frequently.
Well, all you got to do is a dog leg out of Sydney
Absolutely.
and come up here. So, look, John, this is fascinating. This could run for 3 hours. So, look, would you come back on the show?
Why don't we do it? Why don't we do it when it's actually published? And then we can look at
It's
it in
December,
detail.
isn't it?
No, it might be before then.
Okay.
Depends how quickly
Well,
people
you
get
come back on and
activated.
we'll give
That'll be
this a
good.
burst. That's the initial
Potential cover.
potential cover. Just a beautiful book, and John, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Right, mate.
Ah,
Thank you very much.
fantastic.
Lovely to be
Well,
here.
there we are, folks. Yeah, what a day. Thanks for being with us. Have a great day, and remember, as long as you've got a pulse, you have one. See ya.